I've been down to my last dime, thinking what in the hell have I done this time to do you wrong? I swear I've done you wrong.
Welcome to Sask Music's Indigenous History Month interview series. I'm LJ Tyson and I'm here with Jared Lee. I'm so excited to have you here, Jared. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. We're just out at the lake right now, enjoying a little bit of the warm weather, and it just feels good to be out right now. So that's what we're doing.
Awesome, Jared. We're so excited here to highlight some Saskatchewan artists. I know you're originally from Alberta, but you're currently residing in Saskatoon. So what brings you to Saskatchewan, Jared?
Married to your cousin, so she brought me here. That's the true story. It can't get more true than that. But besides my wife, my lovely wife, it's been a dream to live in Saskatchewan with so many talented musicians that are around. Music is just flourishing in this province. There's lots to do here. There's business here. Everything I could possibly want and need is right in the province of Saskatchewan, especially in Saskatoon.
Awesome. We should send a huge shout out to Marcella. She's always with you at your gigs, always by your side, and she's such a supportive, happy person.
Yeah, 100%.
Awesome. So how did you get involved in music, Jared?
I was always around it. I have a dad that played, and he had a band called County Express, so I followed them to mostly every Bullarama and beer fest and rodeo there was. And one of my late uncles, Homer, he was a fiddle player. So he's one of the best fiddle players around. And, everybody in my family played an instrument, whether it was piano, fiddle, anything, any kind of instrument you can name. And I was just surrounded by it. So I kind of got my start by, when I was 12 years old, my dad got me my first guitar. I started learning a little bit about rock, but how I got into country it was about 10 years ago. I was listening to, Jason Aldean, Luke Bryan, some of the Y2K country. And it was a little bit different from the 90s I grew up on. So I was kind of drawn to that. If you remember back in 2015 at Voices of the North, I got to showcase two of my favorite artists, which would have been Dean Brody, Country Canadian Girls, and also Hicktown by Jason Aldean. So those two songs are still on my playlist. They're still couple of my favorites to listen to on a nice road trip. But then I started writing my own songs. So I got influenced by the 90s and a little bit of Y2K. So that's kind of where my influence came from. And country music has always been in my life, one way, shape, or form. So I just decided to start writing songs and emulating kind of what I grew up to. And that's where it brought me to where we're at today.
Awesome. I totally get that because it comes across in your music, all those influences. Your current single, you're actually having a lot of success with right now. I know it's being played across a few radio stations. Do you want to talk to us a little bit about your current single?
Current single right now, I released a whole album back in November. So I have 3 songs that are kind of all up there. I have Let's Get Gone. That one has brought me to so many different places and got me on so many different charts and top 40. That one has been a monster hit for me. And that song Let's Get Gone was about me and Marcella having to leave St. Paul. And that's the truth. Was I just told her, I said, what are we doing here? Let's go. Let's get gone. So we ended up just packing everything and we left. And it turns out that there was a song someplace in there. So real life stories kind of emulate music, or music emulates real life. But that song, Let's Get Gone, ended up getting recorded in Covington, Georgia. And I got the monster musician himself, Jay Clayton, on fiddle for that. He plays with Tanya Tucker full time. He's played with Brad Paisley, Keith Urban. So he's one heck of a musician and one of the most sought out musicians out there. And one of the nicest people we ever get to meet. So that song, Let's Get Gone, is pretty well up there. And the latest one I have is called All Night. And that song was written for a friend of mine that lost her husband to cancer. And I released it during November, which would be Movember. You get to grow your mustache a little bit. And then for the whole course of the month, people are wondering how can we have the whiskers going on. So that song was written for them. And it's kind of a heartfelt story of what life was like for them, how they met, how they had 2 little girls, and what life would have been like if Joelle would have survived. So all the proceeds of that song are going towards men's cancer awareness every November. And I'm going to do some fundraising to help local It's called Hang in the 30s. It's for cancer survivors and also people's families that have been impacted by cancer. The proceeds go towards them, and it's an annual thing that goes on back in my home community. And so far, the one song that I wasn't expecting it to make places is called "Good Man Down." And that song, I didn't expect it to go places. Like I said, it's on a whole bunch of playlists. And I thought it was kind of the weakest song of the bunch, but it turns out it's the strongest song on my album, and I'm impressed with it. It was a little story behind that one. Was I wrote that about 10 years ago, and I always wanted to go to Nashville, and finally got the call back in January, February to go down there and check out a record label that was interested in me. And that song, I talk about going down there and just following your dreams, being able to be true to yourself, and also not listen to other people. You know, you ever get told you should. If I had $1 for every time somebody told me you should do something, I wouldn't be where I'm at today. So I kind of pushed all that aside and decided to do what I wanted to do. And the last 2 years has been an absolute amazing dream. It's been a roller coaster, a lot of ups, a lot of downs. And so far things are steadily, surely, slowly going uphill.
Awesome, Jared. You had mentioned that, you know, your music's going places you never thought it would. What's it like to hear your song on the radio? Like, especially having a brand new single out, and the first time you hear that single, what's that feeling like?
I can't describe it. It's just like you hear your favorite artists on the radio, but then you hear your song come on the radio, and it sends shivers up your spine. It's almost like you get so emotional. That's your baby. That's your creation that you're hearing. And I just wonder, like, if I'm listening to this song right now, how many other people are listening to it right now? And I always think, am I the only one that sings along to my song, or do people actually know my lyrics? So those are some of the thoughts that go through my head right now. You know, when you hear your song on the radio, it's surreal. I still get a huge kick out of it.
So you also come from the world of cover music sometimes as well too. I know you play with a cover band. Do you ever get to mix some of your original music in those sets?
Yeah, absolutely, we do. Sometimes the guys don't learn the songs like right to a T, and that's totally okay. That's fine. Not every song is going to sound exactly how it is on the record. In fact, we do have some extended versions to certain songs. Like we'll have, you know, an extra 32 bars on a solo, or to bring the crowd in, we'll start a little bit earlier. So we do mix my originals along with all the cover songs to any one of the set lists that we do, and any of the places that we do play.
If you had to pick one song from all the songs you've written and recorded for someone to hear for the first time, what song are you going to show to them first?
Ooh, I'd probably say Up on Stage, because people always ask, like, what does it feel like to be up on stage? And that song, I do my best to try and describe it in as many analogies as humanly possible. And somehow I just feel like it isn't enough. Like with jumping off the deep end, with skydiving, with bungee jumping, whatever that rush is, whatever that feeling is we get as artists when we're up there, it's spiritual. It's a rush. There's no way to describe that feeling. So if I was to share one song with everybody, it'd probably be my baby, Up on Stage.
The Saskatchewan music scene is such a close-knit community. We all know each other one way or another. If you had to suggest to our viewers here one other Indigenous artist to either watch or look out for, to hear their music, who are you suggesting to our viewers here?
I'm going to say Donnie Pirano. I've looked up to Donnie since I was a kid. Like, that guy is a monster musician. He puts on a great show. And my dad loves his fiddle playing, loves his singing. So that's the person that turned me on to his music, was my dad saying, you got to check this guy out. And there's always going to be influences around you. So that would be one person I'd tell everybody to watch, is Donnie Pirano. He puts on one heck of a show. He's a great guy and great human being.
Absolutely fantastic, Jared. Thank you so much. Is there anything you would like to add, or any place people can find you on social medias?
Yeah, the best place to reach me is just my website, jaredlee.com, and it's got all the icons on the very bottom. Any way you want to connect with me, it's, you know, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok is a thing now. A lot of our music is going viral on certain social media things like that, dances. But yeah, any way people want to get hold of me is just my website, and it kind of filters down from there. and also the streaming services pretty well all over all of them. And don't forget to support your local artists.
Awesome, Jared. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. Man, you are such a hardworking artist, and I'm so happy to see all the success you're having. And yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you.